Ladies and gentlemen, the American Jerry and Bulldog Nation, happy Martin Luther King Jr. Day. You know, the quote that I love all the Martin Luther King Jr. quotes, but the one that I, of course, enjoy the most is from his I Have a Dream speech, which is where he hoped that his little children one day would be judged not by the color of their skin, but the content of their character. Well, I'm here to report to you that in 2021, that's not the way Americans, led by the media and the political apparatus and big tech and corporate America, wants to judge Americans. They still want to judge them by the color of their skin, their gender, so forth and so on. It's not you and I, it's them. I want to comment about several issues in a broad perspective. First, coming up in a couple days is the inauguration of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. And I don't know about you, but it's already begun, and I just can't stand it. CBS Morning News, Jane Pauley, interviewed Kamala Harris and her husband yesterday, and you talk about a complete softball interview, and maybe I'm wrong because I watched that show a lot, although I've stopped watching it this past year. I don't remember Mike Pence and his wife getting such an interview from CBS Morning News and Jane Pauley like that. I mean, there's no scrutiny. Then we had Oprah interviewing Joe Biden. I mean, the difference in treatment is just going to be off the charts. It's all going to be puke-worthy. Now, the impeachment process. Lots of people are coming out and speaking. You know, Alan Dershowitz, obviously a great constitutional legal scholar, and he just confirms what I've been saying. I might not be Alan Dershowitz, but I'm smart enough to know that I don't understand how you can hold an impeachment trial of a president who's no longer president. And if you can, well, then I say, what can we impeach Clinton, Obama, 43 for? I mean, what's stopping some type of an impeachment process there? Do you see what I'm saying? And not only that, folks, look at the process that they initiated in the House of Representatives. This fast-tracked impeachment. I mean, it's really rather all absurd, isn't it? But ladies and gentlemen, the American Jerry and Bulldog Nation, my number one message today that I want to comment on is where we are in the United States of America, the state of our country. And it's almost like Twilight Zone-y. It's also scary, and it's spooky, and it's weird. The double standards, the hypocrisy has no bounds. The phoniness of it all. We now live in a country where you have to walk and talk and think and speak this certain way, or else you are the problem. And there's all these folks that say, well, it's Twitter, Facebook, you know, they're not the government, so it's just business. They have a right. When you have companies that basically are so big, that were allowed to get so big by the government, that controls speech in this country, it's not the same. It just isn't. And anyone who tries to act like it is full of crap, because it's not the same. But it is amazing to me how they manipulate and are so hypocritical and phony about it. Like, for example, look what Barack Obama and Joe Biden did to divide this country on race and everything else. And then look how they treated Trump for 4 freaking years. I mean, and the Trump supporters aren't supposed to be pissed off, but it all gets ignored. That's the thing. It's insanity is the fact that the media and everybody can just ignore. Like nobody can answer this question. Wouldn't it be great to look dead in the eye all of these phonies in the media and politics and say, you know damn good and well that the whole Russian thing was a big hoax. It was all fraud. It was all phony. And look what you did with that. And there's no accountability at all. None. So they kicked Trump in the gonads for 4 freaking years, kicked Trump supporters in the gonads for 4 freaking years, and then they think that we're the problem. We're the problem. We're the problem that we're in for democracy. We're the reason why this country's in a mess. No, they're the ones that did it. And this whole thing, it takes all of us. Social justice, this NFL thing I had to look at all weekend. Folks, it's not about equality. I think I'm the only person in the country that is speaking about this and have been speaking about this. It's not about equality. It's about control. Is there anybody out there that thinks that Black Lives Matter is about equality? No, it's about control. I am a white male, heterosexual male, who calls them as I see them. I call them the way I see them. I'm not all anti-cop. I'm not all anti-gangster. If a black man does something bad and a cop shoots him, too bad. If a cop shoots an innocent black, white, blue, or green man or woman, then shame on him. So forth and so on. That's not what the American communists do. It's not what Antifa, Black Lives Matter, all this, that is not what they're about. They are about control. They're not about equality. It has nothing to do with equality. I want to go over some articles to prove my point over the weekend. Poll. This is USA Today. Democracy has declined in Trump era. Really? Inquire what your politicians say about Trump. Some decline to criticize him following the riot. By the way, good luck on the impeachment. The whole focus on the impeachment is he incited a riot. Well, now there's evidence that there was already a pre-planned plot that they knew about to get into the Capitol. Well, how could he incite it if it was already in motion? Hello. And folks, I'm going to tell you about that riot at the D.C. Capitol that they blow up to some big thing. You see the videos of these people walking around, milling around? Did they tear down any statues? No. Does Black Lives Matter and Antifa tear down everything? You bet. Did they spray paint these great works of art in the Capitol Rotunda? No. They didn't tear up hardly anything. I mean, it's a joke. Inquire. Local pizza place concocts the impeachment cocktail. They can't cover Durrani litigation, but they can cover that. Paul Daugherty. It saddens me to see the state of the nation's capital. Hey, Paul Daugherty, does it sadden you that they freaking did all of this phony, corrupt crap against Trump? The President of the United States? Illegal surveillance? Illegal FISA warrants? Does that sadden you, Paul? No, that doesn't sadden you, does it, Paul? Paul Daugherty is a joke. Wall Street Journal, where Trump came from and where Trumpism is going. This is the Sunday review of the New York Times. The inevitable. Finally, the world agrees that Trump is exactly the man his fiercest critics said he was. But has the reckoning come too late? What? how Facebook incubated the insurrection. You see how they do it? They're all attacking. See, we're all mad about the censorship. They're blaming Facebook. See, that's their game. They do it, they pound until they get what they want. It's unfreaking believable. But it's all what's going on. I mean, the state of our country is plain flat out freaking scary. And then you look at what Biden's going to reverse automatically the Keystone Pipeline. Once it's back in the climate accord. All of these terrible things. Just awful policies. But there we are. Oh, one final thing I want to point out. I get so tired of, I'm going to go ahead and say this. I am somebody, guess what, folks? I'm somebody who doesn't take and run with every conspiracy that I hear. Okay? Have you heard me do that? No. I don't pay attention, nor do I check out at all these, what many people say, these crazy conspiracy websites. I don't look at all of them. Here is what I know for a fact. I don't even need proof of Dominion voting machines. Here's what I know for a fact, and people that think like me know for a fact. For 4 years, the Democratic Party and the media in this country unfairly and unjustly pounded Trump into the ground. It's a fact. Nobody can dispute that. That is a fact. How does that not affect the outcome of the 2020 election? It's got nothing to do with voter fraud. It has to do with putting your hands on the scales of the political process. Number two, I know this for a fact. Mail-in ballot. I'm not talking about absentee ballots. I'm not talking about the absentee ballot process. I'm talking about the mail-in ballot process that was allowed to be used across this country. And they don't require checking the voter IDs with those. That is wrought with fraud. It is. So those two things, I don't need to know anything else. I don't care about the Sharpie issue. I don't care about the Dominion voting machine issue. I don't care about any of it. That is enough. And they act like, well, that was a fair election. No, it wasn't a fair election. It was a completely unfair election. Look at the amount of money, dollar for dollar, every single day, pounding Trump. It's unbelievable. So, ladies and gentlemen, the American Jury and Bulldog Nation, where do we go from here? I know one thing for sure. I am not going to act like it didn't happen. I'm not going to be somebody who acts like none of that happened to Trump and his supporters. Because it did. And it makes me angry. And I'm not going to stop being angry about it. You know, these are the most corrupt political and media gangsters this country has ever seen. They get away with everything. Everything. They know they can say and do anything. Do not pay the price. It's a corrupt. We are a more. It isn't even close. We are the most corrupt. We have the most corrupt media and politicians and political process system in the history of this country, and it's not even close. This is the Bulldog. Every dog has their day. Have a great day.